Welcome in, everyone. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe if you're brand new. I appreciate you being here. In just a moment, we're going to go ahead and get started. Also, I'm going to bring up the StreamYard towards the end of the stream if you guys want to jump in. In just a moment, we're going to go ahead and get started. Also, I'm going to bring up the StreamYard towards the end of the stream if you guys want to. All right, there we go. That way we won't have double looping, echoing effect. I'm also going to grab up my little music video thingy so you guys can see where it's at and if you wanted to check it out. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. Let me see what we're going to go to next. You guys can see me now. All right, you guys see me okay? So let's go get into some of the Letterboxd discussion. Marcus Flemings, appreciate you. It was an epic stream that we had over there. Fantastic time. Vitaphone, appreciate you. I'm going to get the StreamYard up and running when I can. Here's my little music video I was in case you guys have seen it. When the lights dim, I'm just walking down the hall, so down low, I start to feel the distance grow. Yeah, I'm caught in the shadows, applauding everyone else's existence. Feels like you're looking down on me. You're so high up, who needs company? I'm not invisible, just a little unnoticed. I'm here in the back of the room, clear but just out of focus. I'm not invisible, just a little unnoticed. I'm here in the back of the room, clear but just out of focus. I'm not invisible, just a little unnoticed. I'm not invisible, just a little unnoticed. I'm here in the back of the room, clear but just out of focus. I'm not invisible, just a little unnoticed. Feels like you're looking down on me. You're so high up, who needs company? I'm not invisible, just a little unnoticed. I'm here in the back of the room, clear but just out of focus. I'm not invisible, just a little unnoticed. Sometimes it feels like I've seen through, but just a really bad review. Tell me what it is that keeps you high above it all. Feels like you're looking down on me. You're so high up, who needs company? I'm not invisible, just a little unnoticed. I'm here in the back of the room, clear but just out of focus. I'm not invisible, just a little unnoticed. I'm here in the back of the room, clear but just out of focus. I'm not invisible, just a little unnoticed. I'm not invisible, just a little unnoticed. There we go. All right, guys. Appreciate you for being here. I'm going to open up the movies that I have high ratings on through Letterboxd. We're going to take a look at the Glenn Powell movie, just a little bit for the Hitman, and see what we think about that. I'm going to also go ahead and try to open up the StreamYard so that Vita can come through, or if any of you guys want to come through, jump in the chat. You guys can do that. And let me go over here and get this set up so I'm not blocking the screen for a second. All right, there. I think you guys can see it okay. All right, there we are. So this is my list of films that I had watched recently, some of which I had gave some high marks to. And let me go ahead and check and see what the chat is saying and who else made it in to the stream. Appreciate you guys for being here.
All right, we got White Noise, Harbon Singh, appreciate you. Berry, are you going to copyright Marcus? No, speculationer. I'm not going to copyright Marcus. I was just joking with them. This is like seeing a doubleheader at the ballpark. Good afternoon, Jay. Hi, Montoya. What's good? Vitaphone, White Noise. Jay, seriously, great work on the track. Vio, thank you. Appreciate it. Sunday, fun day, right? Just put it down. Where's the break dancing? I can't break dance. I'll bust my legs break dancing. Good afternoon, Chuck Nasty Sports. Appreciate you. To be honest, he's like he's going noticed right now. Appreciate it. Finally watching House of Dragon. Oh shoot, I haven't stopped. I haven't started that just yet. I have not started that just yet. DJ Wise, appreciate you stopping in. Thank you so much. Hello again, everyone. All right, so that was that there, and so they had this premiering at for the Juneteenth. They had Possum Trot, so I know no, probably nobody's watched it just yet. Sound of Hope, the story of Possum Trot. So this was at theaters for Juneteenth on June 19th. They had a free showing in our area, and at many IMAXs they had free showings for this movie. And it's a story about the need for adoption. And it was a true story about this girl here that lived in a small little village like town in Texas called Possum Trot. Very good film. I like the cinematography. This is coming from a director who did something called The Butterfly Circus, which is if you go to film school or if you're in class for those kind of things, they show the Butterfly Circus a lot of times for classes. And it's a good little Depression era film. We click on the movie itself. I put down, let's see, where's my review? Oh, there's my review right there. So here it is. Adoption message tearjerker based on the story. First Lady Donna and her husband, Reverend Martin, who from their East Texas church in Possum Trot led a mission to adopt a difficult to place kids from the foster system. Angel Studios took on a project to highlight the need for adoption in the film. And this is not a sequel to Sound of Freedom, but it's along those lines of a message film that shows you some of the abuse situations and the plight of the needy in this one, of course, for needing the need to adopt children. It was an epic little movie. I really liked it, and this one has an all very realistic cast. Everyone in this film seemed like they were the characters that they were portraying, from the girl, the troubled girl, to all the other cast members. So it was one of the better films of the year. A small movie, but really epic. So I really like this one a lot. If you haven't got a chance to see it, but you might want to put it on your watch list of stuff to watch. And it was excellent for the Juneteenth celebration, which is what I think a lot of other people missed out on, highlighting something good that was happening at the cinema. This being shown for free at many AMC's around the country on Juneteenth. So it was a really positive thing to embrace for that day. Of my movies that sometimes have hit off with the highest star rating over here on Letterboxd, I got to watch this Shuffle, which is filmed like in black and white and showcases a guy shuffling through time, went back and forth. It was really epic. Passion of Joan of Arc, really good. I really enjoyed Endgame. Father's Little Dividend, if you haven't seen that, that's the sequel to um, the Father of the Bride series from 1950. I had 51, Father's Little Dividend, really good movie. Unsung Hero, just watched this, was a musical biopic, and I really enjoyed it a lot. So high marks on a lot of different films, old and new. Of course, Godfather, epic version. Just different stuff that I gave a lot of high marks to, and we were discussing in Marcus's stream, those films that you enjoy personally, and so I have quite a few of those listed here, like Last Action Hero, Judgment Night, Shutter Island, The Rocketeer, Captain America, Winter Soldier. All these are basically the stuff that I've gotten into over the years that I thought were really excellent or really well made in their own way. Shepherd was a recent, based on a book, a short story and radio adaptation. The Shepherd from 2023 is a short film, and I really liked the way it came out. Niagara was really good. All the Sound of Metal, and um, there's Wonder Woman 1984. I really enjoyed it. I didn't to me it was campy and cheesy and fun. So it took me back to like the 1970s series when they had Carter. Linda Carter doing it, right? So Linda Carter, isn't it? Look over. Her name should be over here. Linda Carter. Well, it's one of those films that everyone disliked, but I thought it was pretty silly, and I enjoyed it. So I got it high marks for that. And it was one of the most hated of the series because it's a cheesy movie. I don't know. I guess everyone thought it was going to be like the other one. It kind of like it's a drastic change to this silly movie from where it was more maybe serious or darker in tone than the first episode. I loved Missing and Searching. If you guys haven't seen those, I wonder if there's going to be a next part to that Missing and Searching series. Really neat found footage kind of thing. But this found footage one actually takes place on the computer, so that's kind of fun. Let me go ahead and check in on the chat real quick, and I need to get that StreamYard back up and running over here on the side too. Let's check and see. This is the movie talk. I gotta enter the studio. Let me see if I can get that up and running or not. It says it's pro tip plugging in. I don't know if you guys can see me there. Hello, hello, mic check 1 2. Let me grab up the little thing. Then I have to mute myself from the other side. So I'll throw this in the chat for you guys that want to jump in with me. All right, there it is. Let's see what you guys are saying so I can read it real quick. Oh, the John Carpenter movies? That would be cool. Yeah, we should talk about John Carpenter movies sometime. Last Action Hero soundtrack was epic. Barry, you're right. It was Linda Carter. Okay, Adam's Card Closet in here. What's good? Chuck, Adam, Barry. Love to. Linda Carter was my favorite Wonder Woman. Yeah, she was really good. Thanks. Okay, so I just make sure I get the chat all taken care of, and then we can talk about those movies here in a moment. Let me check and see. There's someone in here. I think that someone is Vita. Let me see. Add to stage. There we go. Now we're going to check our levels and everything. Make sure that we can hear each other and that the audience can hear us as well. All right. There I am. Audience, can you hear us? Let's check on my phone. I'm going to load this up on my phone so that we can see if everyone can hear us too. Vitaphone, welcome in. Appreciate you for having me here, you and I here once again together. It's always a good time. Thanks you so much. What'd you think about Marcus's stream today? Fun times?
Good times as always.
Disappointing films. Plenty of them to really think about too.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff that if you go to a film and you hype yourself up too much for it, and you get in there and you're thinking your expectations are a little bit too high, you're going to be let down every time. Because I try to go into films now with zero expectations when I go watch something. And then I always come out ahead that way. If I go in thinking, this is going to be the next Citizen Kane or something over the top, then I'm always going to let myself down if I do that. And Matrix 2, the second Matrix, I know it's not called Matrix 2. What name was it given? Matrix Reloaded, Matrix Revisited, Matrix Reimagined?
Yeah, I think that was Reloaded, I think.
Yeah, or
because I think Revelations was the last one, but maybe it's the other way around. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it was. I think you're right. That was Reloaded.
Reloaded Part 2. Matrix. I was disappointed with it. It was good, and I thought it was action packed, and I thought it was had some really neat scenes to it. But I was really disappointed because I was thinking that it was going to be on those levels, and this is where I hyped myself up, and I think a lot of other people did too. Hyped myself up on the belief that they were going to go above and beyond the first one with this one. Up, and I think a lot of other people did too. Okay, they said the audio sounds good. All right, there, I got the chat here so I can keep track of you guys on the side too. I appreciate that. So yeah, did you go in there with the same feeling when you went to go see Matrix?
Oh, buddy, I went in there with this is pretty embarrassing, but I had one of those. We had a Hot Topic in my town. I don't know if you know what that is. If they got them
Yeah,
out
yeah,
there,
yeah. We've got them here.
because I know that chain is almost gone. But
Yeah,
yeah, I had
it's ours is still here in the mall. In the mall.
yeah, I had one of those Neo jackets. This like the preacher jacket. I was hyped about it. Um, I mean, it does outdo the first one in a lot of ways, but it is way underwhelming in other ways. The action is definitely on another level. The story is bigger, but it to me one of the big things that bothered me about the film was like the first one feels like it's grounded in like when they're in the real world. It
Yeah,
seems like the
they
world we
are.
recognize slightly different, right? A
Hmm.
little height. In the second and third one, it doesn't really feel like they're in the real world anymore when they go into the Matrix. It feels like a set. It feels like, like most of the set pieces feel dead, and that's a small detail, but it really does.
It's a big feeling when you're feeling of the film. And one of the other things too was like in the first one, the world felt to me like the people were not just NPCs everywhere around the main characters. Like they were also there to maybe be recruited, maybe be saved in some way, maybe to have like deeper introspective conversations between them, and maybe dig deeper into something more esoteric like we got with the first one where the subtext is philosophical just at the underneath the layers. And I thought they were going to peel those layers back for the second one, and that we were going to see some deeper, meaningful conversations between the characters. But in the second one, instead, it felt like everyone was an NPC, and was I mean, that's what I've got from it was like that the feeling the feeling of anonymity between all these characters started to really play into what they did with it. And I think that could have been better fleshed out in the scripting. So that part of that element of it really let me down because I was thinking they're gonna get to meet different people that are gonna they're gonna have this pushback of no, I want to stay in this bubble, in this happy world. Let me live out my let me live out my fantasy in here in the Matrix. And I thought we were gonna get to see this like back and forth, like maybe even Neo would encounter someone that he really wanted to take to the other side, and he would be like, no, you're in a dream and I need to get you out. I thought that there would be this kind of stuff going on in between all the action set pieces. I thought that we were going to see some of those deeper moments, and we never got those.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you kind of nail it when you use the term NPCs because the second one, the real world feels like a video game. It doesn't. It feels like it's not populated by any sort of life, and
Yeah,
even the there's nothing relatable. It's a great idea of having them. They're all underground, and the real civilization is in this thing, but it feels foreign. It doesn't. It feels. It feels like a giant set, and
all right.
I think that like the only thing that I think is really good about the second and third movies, I think it still does carry on those philosophical conversations and questions, but it doesn't because it doesn't feel grounded in any sort of reality. It feels like people on a set talking about, oh, well, we live off or we need the machines to live, and they need, like all those kind of like big, or the end with the architect, that conversation. It's in a set, it just doesn't feel relatable.
Confined. Yeah, it becomes more of a confined space in the second one than what in the first one really felt like a wide open world. And when you went to go see Last Jedi, how was the audience reactions in there? Did you go with a full house?
I did, yeah, yeah. I saw it. I think 3 times, maybe. I might have gone a fourth just to put the nail in the coffin for me. But
you, you were torturing yourself
I was
slowly with it,
hoping
huh?
that I was just hoping that maybe I'm still missing something. Maybe if I watch it again, it'll really. It's not what the way I feel, and it doesn't feel like it's torching, legacy characters and badly building up new characters that don't really pay off. I mean, like that whole thing of like John Boyega's character. should have had they gave him a proper arc in the first one, and then in the second one and in the third one he has the same arc of like, you know, I'm torn, I don't want to be a hero, but I
Well,
got it, I got, maybe, I'll stand by my people. Like that whole, they just kept writing the same thing for him. They wouldn't let that character go anywhere, and I don't know. But yeah, it was at every audience, people audibly gasped when Luke's lightsaber ignites. He was like standing over Kylo. It was just like, I don't know who that hit for, because the internet would lead you to believe that half the audience it worked for, but like every audience that I saw it with was like when he standing there. So
I mean, it was a disappointment for sure, and I walked out of it. So I went to the showing in the IMAX packed house. Of course, everyone was amped up for it. I know a lot of people in the theater. Like at the time, I was working for Obamacare, and usually we did like I would do like a movie night with a lot of the coworkers. We had 700 people working with us, and I would try to do like a movie coworker night thing. So for Rogue One, I took like 50, 60 people with me to the
oh,
movies.
okay.
Uh, for Black Panther, I took like 60 people with me to go see it. So I had like big groups with me usually when I went to go see it. And when I went to go see the IMAX premiere of The Last Jedi, I did not have a group with me. I went to go see it by myself first, and I was planning on taking them another time, go see it with me, whomever wanted to go along. And so when I went in there and I was watching it, and I got up to the Yoda part, and he looked way off, and the story was already all over the place. I got up and I walked out. I was like, "This is a mess. I'm done with this. I'll catch it on whatever, something else." I didn't want to watch it back in the theater again, so that I left actually left the theater. But it was a sound. Of course I've seen the rest of it since that time. But I feel like I did the right thing in hindsight too, because I
Right.
was like, this is a messy film. It's really ruining what all could be done. And was that Rian Johnson, right? Well, I wanted to say what he did with Finn. Yeah, like you brought up Finn. Finn was such a great character that they could have done so many things with. And one of the first things that Rian Johnson with is does with him is like starts him off falling out of his bed with water shooting everywhere to make him a bumbling clown character off the top. And I was like, that's real disrespectful to his character that had gone through that we see in Force Awakens, where they open up the possibility of a stormtrooper conflicted about seeing his brothers in combat getting blown away, in this conflict. Like, what is this conflict really all about? Where do I fit in with this? Should I keep going this route? Because for them at that time, if they're just following Kylo Ren's character, why would they have this why would they have this drive to continue on with it? Whereas with the Empire, they thought that what they were doing was, in a way, having an order over the galaxy so that everyone follows the rules and obeys this certain, totalitarian dystopian society. You could see from the perspective of a stormtrooper why those that are not conscripted, like we had with Return of the Jedi, why they might want to come in there and be like, I'm a part of this movement and I feel good about it. I'm trying to help out Vader and the Empire. But whereas you see with Finn, he's like, what's this all about?
Right.
What are
Yeah.
we doing? What are we
Yeah.
doing? And we're getting killed out here. And what kind of war is this anyway? We're just for what? Like, and then they could have done so much with his character from there, and then his relationship with Ray, with his relationship to the Force. Was he Force sensitive? And Rian Johnson, man, he just he just came in and didn't understand any of that, and just kind of just wanted to just kind of restart everything, and just kind of like an affront to Star Wars and its fans to just be like, legacy stuff doesn't matter. Just focus on newer, modernized, things. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, no, 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 don't throw out the baby with the bathwater with this.
Yeah.
Let's look at what everything that J.J. Abrams was kind of setting in motion, and then in hindsight, did Lucasfilm ever even have a plan? And then we come to find out, no, they didn't. Everybody was just winging it, and that's really
They,
disappointing.
yeah. I mean, Disney didn't have a plan, but JJ did have a treatment for the second and third movie, or an outline that he
An
gave.
outline, right? And they didn't
The,
want to follow.
and Johnson just tossed it, and Disney went, "Hey, do whatever you want to do. We don't really have a plan. You can. Hey, this sounds like a good movie. Go for it. You know."
And Lucas too. Lucas with his treatments and his ideas, and basically they were, because I think if we were to get like Lucas's version, maybe not as crazy as all the stuff that was put out there for it. But if we were get a trimmed down version of Lucas's treatments, we probably would have gotten something closer to the Mandalorian season 1 and some of the Andor stuff. I think that would more likely be what you would have gotten. Plus, some of this, obviously, I think like a Ray character, a Finn character would have been introduced. So it would have been a lot better if they could have reeled Lucas in on it and had like maybe um, maybe one of the other producers that have done a good job with Rogue One or some of the other stuff work with Lucas on it instead, or J.J. Abrams could have been there maybe too.
Yeah, I mean, from what I know about Lucas's ideas, I feel like they would have been a train wreck, but for totally different reasons. I mean, he wanted to. You can kind of see in a lot of his ideas that would have been in his idea of what a sequel trilogy would have been like, where he's going into the cosmic force and stuff, and a lot of
Yeah,
that's in the Clone Wars, and some people like it, some people don't, but yeah, just the I don't know the fact that Ryan Johnson or Rian Johnson just decided to not just be disrespectful to lore, but the fact that he's making a second film in a trilogy that he just completely his film just doesn't work as a continuation, which kind of there's a topic in Marcus's poll that I'd be interested to hear what your thoughts are about
go
great
ahead.
sequels.
Oh
And
yeah, great sequels.
I think that like a sequel is ultimately one of the toughest things you can do because you have to, and this is if you want to make a banger sequel that does well, you have to go what worked about the first movie, and people want to see that again, but you have to present it in a new way where you take the beats of what worked in the original, you rework those to make them different enough that people go, well, this isn't just the same. But then you also should be expanding on this, the story that was set forward. So you have to both kind of remake the original to be a great sequel that is universally loved, at least. But you also have to do something original with it. So, what are some of your like sequels that you love that you think are
Well, of course, Godfather comes to mind because you got to keep your characters the same, right? Your characters, they can't be these hardened tough guys in the first part, and then in the second part be the antithesis to that or something like that. You can't have them be the complete opposites or go down some other path. You have to keep the characters going. And if the character's trajectory, like we saw with Luke Skywalker, which is excellent, he goes from this farm boy to this now student of the Force to this now he's getting better at it under the training and tutelage of Yoda next, and then you get to where you see, oh, there's a 3-year gap, and now he's become even more and more powerful. You get this natural progression where you don't have that with characters like Rey or Finn in the sequel trilogy, where they're just kind of like suddenly either they're super powerful or they're clumsy or they're whatever. So I really like The Godfather Part Two. I like Empire Strikes Back. I like Return of the Jedi, of course. Um, RoboCop 2. I liked that. I know it's not as great as it could be, but it still captured the essence that Detroit was this dystopian nightmare, and I thought that was like primarily what the Paul Verhoeven picture was originally intending to show is that societies can become dystopian nightmares, and that there's a lot of chaos through the undercurrent of everything. I thought philosophically that was a really neat concept to touch upon, and he explored that really cool with the little commercials in between each scene where we get to see the exploitation of that
right.
consumerism over the top, the overreach of the old man in the tower, and how he looks down upon the city, and how he wants to put the people under his own corporate microscope, to speak.
Did
So I really like those
you
ones.
play the game, by the way, that
Yeah,
came out?
yeah. Every game that's come out, I've played, and I only briefly got to play the new one, but
Oh, it's
every
so It's so
From the NES to the Commodore 64 to the Atari 7800 or yeah Sega Master System. Every version of RoboCop I could find, I would go ahead and play their game because I was a big fan of the series. I thought it was pretty cool.
yeah. That the reason I asked about the new game is like The story is the story basically takes place between RoboCop 2 and 3, and
Yeah,
the the old man plays a significant role in that. And I think you'd probably dig if you beat it because it's got a good story there.
let me catch up on the chat here. White Noise saying the Animatrix in live form would have been a way better follow up, in my opinion. That'd have been cool to see them do some more stuff with Animatrix. I had the game Enter the Matrix too for the PS2 and the GameCube. Disney screwed up Star Wars. I agree. Chuck Nasty. I know you guys love the Mary Poppins Princess Leia in space scene in The Last Jedi. It was adorable. It was exactly what I pictured Princess Leia would be able to do, is just fly around in outer space at will. They've done the same thing to Doctor Who and other. I've never even watched Doctor Who. I think I caught a glimpse of it one time, and I was gonna start with the '60s series, but there's so much Doctor Who that I would
Yeah,
be so behind that I don't know if I should ever start it in the first place.
yeah,
It's what like way over my head at this point. The cool thing would have been to make Rey go full dark side and Kylo good. I thought that would be a good idea, and I was hoping, but we couldn't have even got that with the way that Rian Johnson did stuff. I want a third Ewok movie. Those are gag. Really, the Ewoks Star Wars for me is now that favorite restaurant my parents used to take me to as a kid, and then it gets bought out in a completely different restaurant chain that's not for me, so I don't go. So good points, chat. Appreciate you guys for being in here. Salutes all of you. Some other good sequels that came out. Still the in the in the line of silly sequels. There's a bunch of silly sequels that had came out that are just cornball stuff for a movie, and they don't deviate from that. Gagna brought up Omega Code. Omega Code 1 and 2, they follow the same thing. Iron Eagle 1 and 2, they're basically they follow the same thing. So those aren't necessarily great movies to begin with, but their sequels follow the same stuff.
I
Top Gun Part 2 was really, really good, and it's better than Top Gun 1 for me, and I love Top Gun. I watched it at the theater, at the IMAX, and it's just a feel-good movie.
I got
Absolutely
one that
adored it.
I got thought for that I know that I would get shot by Marcus if I brought it up, but
A sequel?
yeah, might have better luck with you.
Speed
All right.
2, Cruise Control. I got you, Vitaphone. That was a good one.
No, are you? So you like horror movies, right?
I'm not gung ho over them. I'm really into the smaller film stuff. But what's the
Did you ever
horror?
watch Return of the Living Dead?
Yeah. Really good.
What did you think of
80,
the
the
sequel?
87, 89, 91 ones.
Yeah.
Excellent. They were really excellent.
Yeah, I like the sequel because it has like two of the same actors from the first one, and it's like a wink. They're constantly winking and nodding to the original
Yeah.
because they're different characters, but they there's certain lines like where the guy's like, "You'll watch your mouth if you like this job," to the young guy, and the guy's like this job, and then in the sequel, he's like, "I feel like we've said this before."
Yeah. The other callbacks were cool, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. The up to the what was the other one that came out? Day of the Dead or whatever. So I watched all of those zombie features. They were pretty good. I even watched the original one. When did the original one come out? 1960 something or
Yeah.
70?
68, I think it's 67 or 68 when Night of the Living Dead came out.
Mm. And then did you watch the reference to zombies, the old one, the White Zombie or whatever it was called from long ago?
No, I mean when I was really young, like that stuff was on like Joe Bob Briggs Theater and things like that. So I probably saw them on like TNT or TBS way back in the day. But
The Elvira Showcase, like Octoman or something like that. And
yeah,
The Ants. Did you ever watch The Ants? I think it came out 71 or 72.
yeah.
What's good, Fresh Mike in here? Appreciate you for being here. Porky's Revenge. It follows. Yeah, the Porky series doesn't really deviate from its formula, and the Nerds series kind of deviated from its formula. I don't know if you watched Nerds Part 2 and 3 and 4 and
Yeah.
5 with the
Then
Smell-O-Vision 3D glasses.
I mean, if we're talking about that kind of stuff, then you got like the Police Academy series that
You're right
stayed
about that.
fairly true to its roots. You know,
They did stay. They weren't I mean, none of those are spectacular. The Ninja Turtles Part Two, I think it deviated too far from the first Ninja Turtles Part One's two, and the the TMNT, the cartoon one, kind of went back to everything, and that was kind of neat. Big Ninja Turtle fan, so I would like to see. I would like to see a list of sequels. I think that's something I need to hash out and sit down and just think about, what were the really great sequels, and then make a list of those, because a lot of stuff is even though we don't always think about it, like Scent of a Woman was brought up. I've seen the original Scent of a Woman, which was an Italian picture, and I saw the original Brewster's Millions, which was like from 34, 44, or something like that. So there's a lot of stuff that we watched over time that are actually just remakes or they're reboots, and we don't always think of them as such. And I think some people have probably seen like Funny Games, like they made a remake of that. Let the Right One In.
yeah.
I've seen the original, I've seen the remake, and I didn't like the Let the Right One In either way. But the first one, I think the original was better than the remake to me, even though they looked almost identical. There was a remake of Rebecca, and nobody likes that, but I really enjoyed it though. Um, I thought that the both of them were very apt for both time periods. Did you get to see the Hitchcock's Rebecca and then the remake of Rebecca?
I've only seen the Hitchcock version. I haven't seen the remake.
The remake takes a little bit different turns, but it's in color. A lot of people didn't. I mean, well, it's modern. It's like came out in 2020 or something like that, and a lot of people don't like it, don't care for it. But I thought it fit the bill, and I liked it okay. The same thing goes with the Father of the Bride series, Father of the Bride One and Father of the Bride Two. Those were really good, and the original ones with is it Spencer Tracy has the father in those ones. It really follows the same line. Father's Little Dividend in 1951, Father of the Bride in 1950, and it just kind of follows that same pathos. I thought it was pretty good.
You brought something up, and this kind of relates to John Carpenter.
Yeah.
So you're a big fan of the Howard Hawks version.
Yes. Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You're a bigger fan of the original than you are the John Carpenter version. Is that right?
That's accurate. Yeah, I'm a bigger fan of the original Howard Hawks version of the thing um, than the John Carpenter version. Although I'm also a fan of John Carpenter too, and I like his works also. So, but I think I was enamored with the black and white and the mystery of it, and
Sure.
just the way that it just plays out. And I thought that the mystery of it isn't there in the 82 version, but the 82 version is still spectacular for its own reasons. And I have the game, for the Xbox original Xbox, the thing, and then I
Yeah,
think I have its sequel also, and I love it.
they're
And I enjoy playing
actually
it.
they're remastering that original version too. It's supposed to come out pretty soon.
And
Um,
I even liked elements of that modern thing, but I didn't care for it. I mean, it was horrible, but I liked certain little small details in that. Did you see that modern thing from 2011?
yeah, the what do they call that? It's a pre-boot or whatever is what they were calling it. So it's a
Something weird.
prequel, and they were hoping it was going to breathe
Launch.
life to that. I think that movie is okay. I don't think it's as bad as it gets a lot of hate, but I don't think it's. I mean, because it's definitely just a beat for beat remake of the Carpenter version as far as the story beats, the themes. I just don't think it's executed as well. And then the real travesty is that originally that they filmed that all with 99% practical effects with just CGI augmentation, but the studio said, well, this isn't good enough for modern audiences. They want to they want to see it be able to do things that you can't do with, you know, a real person can't bolt out and jump across onto a wall or whatever. So they forced him to basically read refilm and also totally paint over all the practical effects in that movie. And I think that I don't know if it would have made it a ton better as a quote unquote film, but it definitely, horror is kind of like what we are talking about the Matrix, as far as like the way you feel from things is very important. And when you're looking at a cartoon, essentially, it just doesn't inspire the same awe of like, because even a practical effect that isn't a good practical effect, you still go that your
That look
brain
good.
goes, that was they captured that on that thing on film. I wonder how they did it, even if it looks not as fantastical as CGI can look.
Budo Bad Boy was saying Scarface is also a remake.
Oh
I
yeah,
like the original Scarface, and then the '83 De Palma Scarface is good too. Montoya said it's always good to watch the original. Budo Bad Boy said the Thing is a remake. Yeah, I like the original Thing, and then Thing '82, and then Thing 2011. The 2011 one was the one that's really not very good at all. Rocky, Chuck Nasty Sports said Rocky. Now there's a series that has way too many parts, and I really like the Rocky series. And Rocky 3 is my favorite of that series. Did you like the Rocky movies?
oh, I love the Rocky movies. I like Rocky 1 through 3, and then Rocky Balboa. I'm not as big of a fan of 4, but I still like it. 5 is for me kind of a miss. I mean, Rocky Balboa essentially kind of takes the same themes that didn't quite land in Rocky 5 and does it better. For me, from a technical aspect, that's my feeling.
Did you
But
like the Creed series?
I liked Creed 1. I thought it was decent, but it was just a remake of Rocky, with different characters. It's technically, it's part of the lineage and it's part of the canon, so you can say it's not a remake in that aspect, but I mean it's the same basic story.
I
Uh,
read I read somewhere that they were thinking, and I thought that this would have been such an intriguing idea to go down the line of, what was the story of Clubber Lang. And so in the non-canon stuff, or some of the stuff that was left out of the script or whatever, Clubber Lang supposedly took the route of like a George Foreman, and he became a Christian. He never came back to boxing again. He started to help underage, underprivileged youth to start fighting, and he started to get different guys up and ready to start doing boxing and stuff like that. And I thought, oh man, what a great what a great idea. That would have really segued into part 5, and then going forward, that could have been something we could have seen in in Creed too, where he could have brought up one of these underprivileged youth, and they had gotten really good under Clubber Lang, because we never see the character of Clubber Lang again after Rocky 3. He got beat one time and then he was gone, but supposedly there was these treatments and these different storylines that they were supposed to take his character in that direction. And when I read that, I was like, that would have been so cool to see that route taken for his character, so we could see some of those additional characters, start to creep up as villains or as other characters in the series. That would have been really special.
yeah, and that's kind of they clearly like at some point went. There's some good themes there. Let's and that's Rocky 5, the boxer who's
That's where
finds.
he's taking care of the guy, but
Yeah,
they should have went the Clubber Lang route and showed that there's Clubber Lang building up this guy and then this guy fighting, rather than it being Rocky Balboa feeling betrayed by, was Tommy Morrison, the actual fighter. So we had two actual fighters in that series. Was that Tommy Morrison, and the other one in Rocky Balboa, the one that you liked, which was, what was that character's name? You remember that fighter's name or no?
I don't remember his name right off the top of my head.
Chat, do you
Uh,
remember that boxer's name in Rocky Balboa?
Chuck Nasty says that Stallone's talking about doing another Rocky movie, which I don't really know how you could do that, considering spoilers for the Balboa or the Apollo series. But let's just say that it would make it very hard for Stallone to do another Rocky movie. I mean, I guess they could recast, which would be a terrible idea, but I mean that doesn't stop Hollywood from if they think they can make money doing something. But I kind of feel like I personally think that there are some actors that are the character is I hate to say that use this expression, but they're just born to play certain characters, and like anyone else in those roles, I just don't see how it works. And I think that Stallone, like in Rocky, like who, how do you do that?
How do you replace him? Montoya said, I haven't watched any of the Creed series. They're pretty good. I really liked it. I got to see it at the theater and I enjoyed it. White Noise said, Jay, have you seen Everybody Wants Some with our guy Glenn Powell? If you haven't, I think you should check it out. No, I haven't seen Everybody Wants Some. Have you seen that?
I have not, but it's got your boy in it. So
Glenn Powell. This is Glenn Powell. I guess he co-wrote that Richard Linklater film. No, one of my favorite Linklater films is Waking Life. I really like that one,
yeah, that's a
and I
great one.
like Scanner Darkly. I like
Yeah.
he really I like it when he goes odd and he takes these weird directions. Scanner Darkly and Zootopia. If you watch those films back to back, you'll see that they're almost the identical movie. Have you watched that cartoon Zootopia with the
Uh,
animals?
I have not. I vaguely remember that it's kind of anime ish, right?
Hmm.
Like that
Yeah,
style.
Scanner Darkly and Zootopia follow the same threads. They're about the same movie.
Is
Um,
it Zootopia also a Philip K. Dick story or?
no, it's a cartoon for kids. It's an animated Disney movie,
Oh,
but
because
it's Philip K.
Scanner.
Dick story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I know about his books and his works. Rambo's another one that had too many, like the Rambo series. Rambo 3, when it went really over the top, I like that. And when we were talking about Last Action Hero, when audiences went to go watch Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it was a spoof on that over the top uh, genre where there's this undefeatable police protagonist who is always taking the law into his own hands. He's a renegade. He wrecks half the city in order to get the mission completed, and that's a
He's got a chief that hates it.
that is the audience was like, what the heck is this? Because what the audience wanted when they went to go see it, they wanted the Jack Slater movie. Really, most of the audience wanted to see an over the top action movie, and I would have loved it if they could have provided that too. If they had had enough of the budget and the foresight to have made a Jack Slater movie, what kind of fun would that have been? Because it could have been like Lethal Weapon, but 10 times more over the top. And it would have been what we saw on the screen with him, the blowing stuff up constantly and just having crazy fun. And that would have really been a fun popcorn movie to sit there and laugh at because it would have been spoofing itself and at the same time not taking itself seriously with how over the top it is.
Well, I think movies like that, or like Big Trouble in Little China, those movies are just ahead of their time because, like, Hot Fuzz and what's what's the zombie one? Simon Pegg, and it's I'm talking about the zombie movie. That's the British movie that with Simon Pegg as the lead. The name is escaping right now. But
Shaun of
those
the Dead.
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead. Those movies prove that like audiences a little bit, if they would have waited, if they would have come out in after the '90s, when like people like us grew up, I think that Last Action Hero or Big Trouble in Little China, two movies that the audiences just of the '80s and early '90s weren't ready for that level of, we're gonna do an action movie that is going to pay off the way you want an action movie, but we're also going to have some fun with it. I don't think that audiences were quite ready for that. Like, you had like Naked Gun and stuff, but that wasn't Leslie Nielsen isn't an action star. That's what kind of made those ones work. So I
Right,
think that
yeah.
they were just ahead of their time with Last Action Hero because
And
it is.
did you get to see Sledgehammer, the 1980s TV series Sledgehammer?
No, I don't think so.
Oh man, Vita, mark this down. Go check out Sledgehammer when you can. It's a
Okay.
spoof. It's a crazy over the top spoof cop TV series, and it is just nuts. One episode after the next, and there's some really funny episodes too. And just it it features this character who's over the top, and he's like Dirty Harry, but like 10 times crazier. So and it never takes itself serious. It's kind of like the uh, National Lampoon's kind of stuff. So I think if you like that kind of thing, or if you like Shaun of the Dead and things, you might like that one. Let me check and see what else. The Shaun of the Dead, aren't they making Naked Gun with Liam Neeson? Liam,
Yeah, yeah,
Liam
yeah.
Neeson with the Naked Gun, really? Dirty Harry spoof with
Kind of perfect.
Sledgehammer.
He's kind of perfect because what made Leslie Nielsen work so well in that is he had a 25, 30-year career of being in dramatic roles. So in a weird way, Liam Neeson having such a career of playing dramatic characters kind of makes him perfect to do deadpan delivery of the guy who doesn't quite get it. You know,
Yeah,
that
that would be awesome. That would be silly. Um, let's see what did the chat say. Oh, Chuck said, "What do you guys think of the John Wick series?" I liked it. I'm cool with the John Wick series.
I really liked the first one and enjoyed the second one. I think I saw the third one, and I've yet to see the fourth one.
I liked it so far, and I liked Beekeeper. I liked Nobody. Um, all those kind of over the top type. Did you get to see Beekeeper?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
A lot of over the top killing going on in that one, of the bad guys. And I like those type of movies. Nobody. Did you get to see Nobody?
I haven't seen that one yet.
He's
No.
the star of the show, Mr. Show. I mean, um,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. With what the hell is his name? All of a sudden,
Odsnick or something like that. Bob Odenkirk. Bob
Odenkirk.
Odenkirk. That's it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Bob
Haven't seen that.
Odenkirk.
I've heard great things about it. It's like by some of the same guys behind the John Wick.
It's
Because I guess
along the lines of the Wick stuff. He's a father. His house gets broken into by the bad guys. He gets to work on them, just in the same way that we might expect a Wick to. Then he tries to track down some more guys. So it's a lot of action, over the top craziness. Beekeeper is along the same lines as that, only it's a little bit more over the top. And with Jason Statham just going around saying, "I am the beekeeper," which is just funny as heck. So it's like that's his like that's his tagline when he shows up. "I am the beekeeper." So I like watching those ones. I'm always like the movies with Jason Statham. Montoya said, "Yeah, the Jason Statham characters, like the Transporter series, Crank. Um,
Crank is that's the one I want to see a third one too.
yeah, that would be cool. That would be
I,
cool to see a
I've been
third one
talking
to it."
about it for a long time about getting that off the ground, and every couple of years, Statham says, "Yeah, I think we're finally gonna got something together," and then nothing comes of it.
It's probably hard to get those things. And then you know what? Like with Sam Raimi, when Spider-Man 3 came out, and it was such a huge disappointing film, it's got to be on that disappointing list for me too. But I was thinking, that we um, Sam Raimi sometimes it's hit or miss, but how much of that also is studio interference? So maybe it played a way bigger factor with that Spider-Man 3. Did you think that that was the case?
I mean, as a huge Spider-Man kid, I didn't like I when I saw it, I wasn't that disappointed. I was just happy at the time. I was much younger too when that came out, but at the time I was like, well, some Venom is better than no Venom, and then I'm like, that's not a very good Venom, and then the movies that have come out lately, I'm like, oh, those are even worse.
Yeah, it's been rough. It's like that a movie Elektra was really bad of the Marvel Universe stuff that it came
Oh
out that
yeah,
I didn't care for at all. And then what was the other one? Oh, the Secret Wars one, right? The recent one with Samuel L. Jackson,
didn't
the
even watch
TV
it.
series one. Well, I wouldn't
Yeah,
advise you to because it's hideous. It's really bad. I mean, they keep the focus on it is crazy, and it keeps on focusing on who's a scroll and who's not, who's a scroll, who's not, and they just keep on teasing you with that the entire thing. So one character will walk in and it'll be like dun dun dun, is he a scroll? And he walks out. Another character can walk in dun dun dun. You're like, where are they going with this? This is not how you make a compelling show or movie or anything. So it was really, really, really bad. One of the one, it's up there with the top worst MCU things.
well, Disney has a real double down problem. They have a problem with their movie scripts over the last 5 years for the most part. But then when it comes to Disney Plus, the problem multiplies because instead of hiring showrunners to write a TV series, they've been taking scripts that were initially in some stage supposed to be a film, and they're going, well, let's just split this up. And like a film works, the 3 act structure is, pretty much, unless you're watching, a David Lynch film or an art film, there's a structure of rhythm that has buildups and payoffs and buildups and payoffs. And if you try and split that into 6 or 8 hours, it just doesn't work because it's like taking music and just going, hey, let's just take this bridge and say that this is a song, or let's take this chorus and say, just repeat that whole. It's like the things don't, they're pieces of a whole. And when you try to like fracture it, it doesn't work even worse. And it's like they're not even making good scripts, or they're accepting terrible scripts from movies, let alone trying to turn those terrible scripts into a TV series. It's not working. They claim that they've hired, I think it was like 7 or 8 months ago, they said that they hired a number of showrunners from, previous TV shows to start overseeing it. But they literally have, on most of their shows, haven't even had a traditional showrunner, which is extra, like, because like for those who don't know, like a showrunner is kind of like the director. They oversee the entire process. In the writing room, they assign, typically they'll say, hey, you write the B plot, you write the A plot, we need this, we need this. But they haven't even had like showrunners on most of their shows. So it's
Yeah.
just why their shows are not working, because they don't pay off in any satisfying way for the most part.
No, not at all. So, well, man, I think we'll leave it there, and then we'll probably open up another discussion again. I wanna concentrate on those sequels and remakes. I need to make that list for myself too, that maybe you and I can go over next time too, and along with whatever else topic Marcus wants to go over. And then if you have anything you want to bring to the table too next time about anything film related or any of that stuff you want to go over with me on, we could discuss that as well. We appreciate you guys for coming through. Make sure you hit up Vitaphone's channel. You can leave your link over there too. I got my Letterboxd for you guys that want to check out my Letterboxd. Vitaphone is the one that introduced me to it. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for introducing me to that, because I had no idea that app was available, and I'm super excited to use it because it's helping me keep track with what I watched recently. Logging everything though is going to be a pain. If I try to log every single little thing, I'm going to have to take like a whole day to sit there and be like, okay, let me go back to 1920 and start clicking, start clicking year by year. That's going to be a little tougher, but I've logged so far. What's it say? Let me click on it and see. I think it's in the two something. I think you guys can see on the screen that I'm logged over here. Well, it's just showing me missing right now. It's 2,000 something movies I've logged so far. They're at the top. Films, there's the little thing. If you guys want to check out my Letterboxd, there it is. 2,383 films that I've logged so far. So how have you been liking it? It's been going pretty good for you as well
Yeah,
on your
yeah. I mean,
Letterboxd.
one of the things that I really like about it too is it kind of forces, it, as you're rating movies, it kind of forces you to get like to really put some thought. After you do enough of them, you go, why did I write this one 4 stars and this one 3.5? And then you kind of start to, because everybody will give you a rating of out of 10 or out of 5 stars on a movie, knee jerk. But a lot of times, until you really start to do it consecutively, you go, maybe my system is, there's a more you start to realize there's a more objective way as you cross-reference your own stuff, and you go, why would I give this one, a higher rating than this one? It makes you really think about how you typically appraise like the films you like and don't like.
I like the ability that we can see, because you guys see this where it says 8 followers, 9 followers. I don't know if it's showing. I think it is showing on screen, but I've got Hotep Jelly, Papa Hotep, Kenny Sparks. Have you seen that with T? Terrence, Collector Movie Man, Zachary Colborn, Montoya, Marcus, and Henry Rassico. Appreciate you guys, all of you. And then when I go over here, I can click on Marcus's stuff and I can see, what he's seen recently and how he's voted for something, or what he's put over here to what he has said about the film. So this is pretty cool too. That way you can keep track of like-minded people or people with maybe different cinema taste from yourself, and then you can keep track of what they got going on, and you can compare it and then see. And I think that I can see from your perspective all your ratings. There's been times I've gone on people's stuff and they have like and I can see from the perspective also too of the people that I follow in that group, like Montoya and Hank Rassico and others. But outside of you guys, I've seen other lists where I've gone in there and they've got something that's really crazed and it's got this huge stars for it, and something that's really epic and they got half a star for it. I'm like, whoa, what is this person's taste? And try to figure it out from there, try to dissect it a little bit. Sometimes when I come across those really strange ones, so I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's they rated what?
Yeah.
5 stars to this? And it'll be something completely off the wall. But appreciate you for coming on, man. It was another fun time, another fun stream with Marcus. You guys are new here, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Please hit that like button for me as well as we head out. Any final thoughts, words, phrases, comments, suggestions, Vita?
I think it would be really cool next time is, or at some point, if we, watch both of the things and then we compare, like, because you like the original first, I like the remake. If we went like a deep dive of what you really love about the
Oh,
original,
the little details of it. Okay,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It'd be a cool
I
little
could check that out. I've got that on. I still haven't. I need to pull it down from the shelf so I can have it here, so I can point it to the camera. But I do have the HD DVD copy and a Blu-ray copy of the '82 thing. And I don't have a copy because I think it only came out on DVD and VHS of the original thing, the Howard Hawks or whatever version.
Yeah, yeah.
But appreciate it. Thank you
Yeah.
greatly. We'll catch up with you guys next time. Be safe, stay well. God bless, and talk to you guys soon. Hit that like button for me, please. Later on, everyone.